We're trying to find out who built the structures that were uncovered on Lot 5.
How many other structures like this have we walked past?
These are puzzle pieces that help explain what happened on this island.
The GPR scans for Season 13 just lit up like a Christmas tree over a specific patch of Lot 5. What they found is a rectangular stone foundation that's about 600 square feet of pure mystery. It's not just a homestead for some old farmer. The layout is way too complex for that. Every detail points to a massive operation that was happening long before the money pit was even dug. So here's the deal. This structure might be the place where the treasure was actually processed. Stick around to see the artifacts. Groundbreaking discovery at Lot 5. Most people don't realize that Lot 5 has been a gold mine for small artifacts like coins and pottery, but a full building is a total game changer. The crazy part is that this structure sits near the shoreline, almost as if it was meant to be a lookout or a pier-side workshop. During the second episode, which they called Billion Dollar Baby, the experts started realizing the value of this spot. They aren't just looking at old rocks, they're looking at a site that might have been the headquarters for the original depositors. The GPR scans showed that the foundation is incredibly solid, and it's buried under layers of fill material that was clearly placed there on purpose to hide it. It's not that simple, though, because the dating of this site is causing a lot of heated debates in the war room. Initial charcoal samples from the area are coming back with dates from the 1600s and 1700s. That's a huge deal. It means someone was building a permanent heavy-duty structure on Oak Island over 100 years before the money pit was officially discovered in 1795. Yeah, about that. If someone was living and working there in the 1600s, it completely ruins the old story that the island was just a deserted forest. Someone with a lot of money and a lot of help was busy on Lot 5.
That the Knights of Malta had interactions and even through families.
The structure itself has a strange layout that doesn't fit the style of a typical colonial home. It's symmetrical with internal divisions that look more like storage compartments or specialized workrooms. Basically, it looks like a place where you'd store something very heavy or very valuable. The archaeologists on the team, like Laird Navan, are being very careful, but you can tell they're excited. They found post holes that suggest the stone foundation supported a massive timber frame. This wasn't a shack. It was a building meant to last for centuries. And get this, the team also found lead traces in the soil right around the foundation. Lead is often connected to the cross found by Rick Lagina years ago, which ties back to the Knights Templar theories. What most people don't realize is that Lot 5 is physically connected to the money pit area via potential underground tunnels. There's a theory that this building served as the front door for whatever was being brought onto the island. If you're going to move tons of gold or religious relics, you need a place to stay and a place to organize the work. The layout of the boulders around the site even suggests there might be alignments with the famous Nolan's Cross. It's hands down the most discussed find of the season because it's something you can actually see and touch.
And so we need to do our homework. We need to understand how old this pottery is, what it might have been used for.
Unlike the deep holes in the money pit that always seem to fill with water. Wait until you see how this foundation lines up with the mysterious shafts nearby. Hidden features of Lot 5. The investigation into the Lot 5 structure took an even weirder turn in the 5th episode of Season 13. The team titled this one Keep on Rockin', and for a good reason. As they cleared more dirt away from the original 20 by 30 foot foundation, they found extensions that nobody saw coming. It turns out the structure wasn't just a simple rectangle. There's a strange circular layout attached to one side of the stone base. The crazy part is that this circular feature looks almost like a primitive kiln or a furnace. This adds a whole new layer to the mystery. Was this a place where they were smelting precious metals right there on the beach? So here's the deal. The stones used in this circular extension are different from the ones in the main foundation. They've been shaped with tools, and they show signs of intense heat. It's not that simple, though, because there's no record of any industrial activity on this part of the island in the official history books. Everyone's obsessed with the idea of a treasure chest, but this structure suggests a massive long-term operation. You don't build a stone furnace and a reinforced foundation just to hide a small box. You do it because you're staying for a while and you have work to do. Archaeologists found that the stones were held together with a specific type of mortar that contains lime and crushed shells. This is a very old way of building, often seen in European structures from the Middle Ages. The crazy part is finding it here in Nova Scotia. The team also uncovered more post holes that form a perfect grid. This means the building had multiple floors or a very heavy roof. Imagine a massive stone and timber warehouse standing on the edge of the island while the secret work was happening in the woods. It's putting it lightly to say this changes the whole vibe of the search. Another thing that most people don't realize is that the fill dirt used to cover the structure contains pottery shards that are much older than the 17th century. Some of these pieces look like they could be from the 1400s. If the team can prove that the building was covered up on purpose using old soil, it proves a massive cover-up happened centuries ago. The mystery of Lot 5 is basically a story of someone trying to erase their tracks, but they didn't do a good enough job. The stone foundation is still there, and it's telling a story that the history books missed. For starters, the location of the structure is perfect for bringing in supplies by boat. The shoreline right in front of Lot 5 has been surveyed, and there are signs of an old stone wharf or dock buried under the sand. This means ships could pull right up and offload whatever they were trying to hide. The team is now looking for a direct path from this building to the money pit. If they find a paved road or a clear trail, the mystery is as good as solved. Hands down, the most exciting part is that they're finding these things in real time and the data is backing it up. The artifacts found inside these walls are about to blow the lid off everything.
I think we found treasure in the sense of a lot of knowledge that's going to help us proceed.
Shocking engravings at Lot 5. Everything changed in Episode 8, which was titled Into the Fold. This is when Gary Drayton, the team's metal detecting expert, found what he calls a Bobby Dazzler. But this wasn't just a silver coin or an old button. He pulled a metallic artifact out of the dirt right near the center of the Lot 5 foundation. It's a small piece of metal, but it has very clear engravings on it. The team was stunned. It's not every day you find something that looks like a religious relic in a hole in the ground. The crazy part is, the design on the metal looks incredibly similar to symbols used by the Knights Templar. So here's the deal with this artifact. It's made of a lead and tin alloy, which was common in Europe during the medieval period. What most people don't realize is that this specific metal fingerprint can be traced back to mines in Europe that were active hundreds of years ago. The artifact has engravings that look like a cross and some Latin lettering. The team took it to experts who study ancient symbols, and the initial word is that it's sacred. It's not just a piece of trash or a tool. It's something that someone would have carried with them as a protector or a sign of their faith. Yeah, about that, if this is a medieval religious relic, what is it doing inside a stone foundation on Oak Island? The dating of the artifact seems to match the deeper layers of the Lot 5 structure, which means we're looking at the 1400s or even earlier. This fits perfectly with the theories of Zena Halpern and the Cremona document that suggests the Templars fled to North America with their most prized possessions. The crazy part is that this relic was found right where the strange circular furnace was located. Maybe they weren't smelting gold? Maybe they were protecting something even more valuable. In Episode 9, titled So Close, Yet Sonar, the team used advanced scanning technology to look inside the metal of the relic without breaking it. They found that it might be a container or a reliquary, meant to hold a tiny piece of something holy inside. This sent shockwaves through the war room. Rick and Marty Lagina have always wanted to find the why behind the island, and this is the strongest why they've ever had. Someone didn't just come here for money. They came here for a mission. Hands down, this relic is the most important item found in Season 13 so far. The experts, like Doug Crowell, are busy looking through the old records to see if a specific group of people was known to be in the area. They're finding links between the stone construction on Lot 5 and similar buildings in Portugal and France. It's putting it lightly to say that the world is watching this discovery. If a medieval building and a sacred relic are both on Lot 5, then Oak Island is the most important archaeological site in the Western Hemisphere. Every time they dig deeper, they find another layer of proof that history isn't what we thought it was. Now we have to wonder if the treasure is even made of gold.
Hitch up your boots, you get stuck in, as Gary calls it, and you move forward.
Connecting the dots. Now that we've seen the stone foundation, the strange extensions, and the sacred relic, we have to talk down to earth. What does all of this actually mean? If you're a fan sitting at home wondering if this all happened overnight, the answer is no. This has been a slow, careful process of peeling back the layers of time. The thing is, when you look at all the data from Season 13, a very clear picture starts to emerge. Lot 5 wasn't just a place where people lived. It was a high-security industrial site built by a group of people with immense knowledge and resources. So here's the deal. Are we missing a key detail? Some skeptics say it's just an old homestead from the 1700s. But here's the catch. Farmers don't build massive stone foundations with complex circular furnaces and leave behind medieval religious relics. That just doesn't happen. The evidence points to a massive project that involved moving thousands of pounds of stone and engineering a building that could stand the test of time. This was a base of operations. Whether it was for the Knights Templar or another group, this was the heart of the island's activities. The crazy part is that this structure might actually be more important than the money pit itself. While the money pit is a giant trap designed to keep people out, Lot 5 was a place designed to keep the workers in. It's where they stayed, where they planned, and where they probably processed whatever they were hiding. The lead traces and the metallic artifacts suggest they were working with minerals or precious metals right there on the site. What most people don't realize is that the treasure might not be one single chest. It could be a massive cache of artifacts, and Lot 5 was the processing center for the whole thing. Basically, we're looking at a site that served as a headquarters. The symmetrical rooms and the timber frame suggest a level of organization that you only see in military or religious orders. As the team moves forward, they're going to find more connections between the shoreline of Lot 5 and the deep shafts of the money pit. Every discovery in Season 13 is a step closer to the truth. It's hands down the most exciting time to be an Oak Island fan because the mystery is finally turning into history. The stones don't lie, and they're telling us that something massive happened on this island a long, long time ago. As we look at the final results of the season, we have to ask ourselves, are we ready for the answer? If the treasure is actually a collection of sacred relics from the Middle Ages, it changes everything we know about the world. Oak Island isn't just a story about gold. It's a story about human history and the lengths people will go to protect what they believe in. The structure on Lot 5 is the physical proof of that struggle. It's been waiting for hundreds of years to be found, and now it's finally speaking to us through the dirt and the stone. What's your take on the strange circular structure? Do you think the relic proves the Templars were actually there, or is it just a lucky find? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Oak Island updates.